Hello, everyone. So what I thought I'd do is do a little commentary over the video of last week's competition. I've had a chance to go over it a few times. A lot of people have watched it from the club. I had a few questions about what I was trying to do, what the person on the bottom was defending, Graham in this case. So I thought I'd just do a little commentary, go over some of the points, some of the things that might have been happening, and maybe what I've learned since. Obviously, hindsight's a wonderful thing. And that's how we build experience. You do something once, you learn from it, build experience, so then hopefully next time you can build on it. The big things that I took away from this was, one, that the kind of build up to it, I'd prepared reasonably well. Didn't change a lot. I definitely put in some good 10-minute shark tanks with a fresh partner every 2 minutes. That was one of my biggest concerns, whether my cardio would hold up really. And it did. I felt all right. Don't get me wrong, I was knackered by the end, but it felt all right. The next big thing that I take away was a big learning point on the wrestling. As we discuss, there was some good points in the stand-up, but when Gray got the takedown, I was back on my heels, my hips, I was stood quite upright, and he finished a beautiful double leg takedown, but we'll go into that when we get to it. But all in all, I felt like it was a good performance. My first time competing 10 minutes sub only. I really enjoyed it. It was a great event as well. If anybody from ASW Liverpool is watching this, then it is a fantastic event, and I recommend it to anybody who wants to dip the toe in submission grappling. Definitely get in touch with them in whenever the next hybrid one is. Definitely. Atmosphere was amazing as well. There was no kind of negative vibes or anything. Anyone was there. Everyone was there just enjoying the grappling. Yeah, it was spot on. Really enjoyed it. So let's get into it. Hopefully this is recording now. And so we start off, it was a 10-minute match. I'll be honest, I was quite nervous leading up to it. A couple of days beforehand, it was quite all-encompassing in my head. Couldn't think about much else. I knew I had to do this thing on the Sunday, sorry. But then turning up to the event midday on the Sunday, kind of all the nerves disappeared. I was there with everybody else. There was a lot of other people in the room competing. Everyone else kind of felt the same. And I felt all right. I had confidence in my ability and my ability to defend submissions. And I wanted to test myself. And it was a good matchup. Both newly promoted brown belts. And I didn't know much about Graham at the time. I didn't bother trying to do any research if there is any footage out there of him. I just wanted to go into it completely open to whatever happened. Not try and dictate a game plan. Just go out there and do my best and enjoy it. So let's get into it. So we start off. I did feel pretty confident in the stand-up. I was looking for, we've been drilling the collar ties and stuff in the gym. So I could work off that collar tie. So I'm there blocking any kind of attempt at a low single, and I get the collar tie. And immediately, you'll see if we go back, immediately we've been drilling that Kouchi ankle pick. You'll have seen Owen Livesy do it on any instructionals or stuff like that. So I've been trying to drill that. I didn't commit to it. I created the angle. I pulled down on the head. My foot was behind Graham's foot, and I didn't get low enough to complete that ankle pick, and you'll watch again as we get into it here. So I get the collar tie. I felt like it was strong, my collar tie as well. And I'm there, and I changed that direction to get my foot behind, and I wasn't low enough to get that ankle pick. So again, I go for an arm drag, I didn't do it. And now I end up going backwards. I go backwards quite a bit. So I'm on my heels. I got that collar tie. And now I'm up quite tall. I go in for that collar tie, get a good 2-on-1. So at this point, I was feeling quite confident. I was getting good head control. I had the 2-on-1 if I couldn't get rid of Graham's collar tie. But you'll see in a minute that I'm not pressuring, I'm not putting pressure on Graham at all. And I start to back off a little bit and I stand up tall and I get fucking flown. Yeah, watch this. Amazing double leg by Graham. So, again, collar ties and he goes in. So I attempted to get I was trying to wrap up the guillotine as he went in for the double leg. I knew it wasn't going to be on, but if he had made a mistake and coming at the wrong angle, but he executed a brilliant timing and a good double leg. Again, the learning from that take from that was I was stood too tall. I didn't have my hips back. I wasn't pressuring forward enough. And I call it nerves, but I wasn't probably relaxed enough in the clinch. Moving my partner around a little bit, trying to attack from a position of tense, being tense, trying to attack. You've got to relax, haven't you, before you... And I wasn't moving my partner around a little bit. So there are definitely some learning points I'm going to take away from that. But Graham executed an awesome double leg. Ended up taking me down. But once I hit the ground, I started to scramble to get a better position. So you see here, I end up getting my guard back and we're in a guard. And you'll see Graham is now, So Graham is now, he's cupping that foot. I end up getting head control. Graham's cupping my foot. And he had kind of an inside position with my legs. And I could hear Paul Callan in my corner saying, watch that footlock. I was aware that he had my leg cupped in that straight footlock position. And I kind of we'd been working on footlock defense all week as well. Just specifically because that's what we decided to work on that week, or I decided to work on that week. So I was kind of baiting Graham to sit down with that footlock. And as he sat down with it, my defense was spot on. I knew what I was doing. I gained height and I knocked the foot off the hip. Started to move around to the position. So he sits back. I know I have to stop that foot. He starts to go belly down. So I get rid and I follow him around the corner. And I end up with a little counter footlock of my own. So as Graham's attacking my straight footlock, I bring my right leg over the top. And you can't really see it, but I start to bait a little bit of a heel hook of my own. Not really putting any pressure on it, just to give him something to think about to hold the position. So see, I've got that foot trap there. And he goes for it again. He goes belly down. He starts to go belly down. So let's just see that again. So he sits back down. I defend. I get the foot off the hip. I gain height. I move around the corner. And as you see, I end up with a little counter leg lock of my own. He strips that. He starts to go down to the ground. And I take that foot off to the inside. We've been working on a defense that Lloyd Cooper showed us when your partner staples the hip, so they don't have the normal single leg X position or the ashigarame. They actually step over and go like a false 50, as Lloyd calls it, where we push the legs to the outside and we go inside towards the back. And that's where you see now I end up with that leg drag position. So I end up in top. I'm trying to consolidate a top position. I was actually looking to try and pass that hand towards a kind of gift wrap, but Graham did a good job of blocking my wrist as well. So I've got hold of Graham's wrist. He's got hold of mine. I was trying to strip his grip and get a kind of gift wrap position. So I bail on that. Now I'm looking for head control, trying to get an underhook so I can sprawl my leg back. I'm in that kind of leg drag position. I get that underhook, got good head positioning and a sprawl and a tech side control. So this is where it all starts. This is where the majority of the match takes place, in this position. There's a few more leg lock defenses. back defence, but we end up in this position. Another learning point, call it adrenaline on the day, call it nerves, stress, whatever you want to call it. I became fixated and I became tunnel visioned with the prospect of trying to get a DAS or an anaconda. I don't know why, it was all I could think of in my head. And that was to the detriment of maybe opening up a little bit more and trying new positions. Again, it's submission only, so no one won. But looking back now and learning from the experience, I could have tried a little bit, could have tried a few more different things. But then in the moment, it is what it is. In the moment, I was trying to get that DAS choke. And I was working for it. I wasn't particularly, I didn't feel like I was stalling or anything. I was working for that DAS. But Graham, as we'll find out, so Graham did a really good job of keeping his frames. And see how, so I turn north-south now, block that hip. Graham keeps his arms in nice and tight. And I look to attack that far right arm. I'm looking for the kind of Ben Poppleton Kimura trap. As he brings it over, I bring my forearm on my chest. And I couldn't quite get it, and he turned back in. Good defense by Graham. He knew what he had to do. He was trying to get his elbow back to the mat. So I couldn't collect that Kimura. So now I'm looking to wrap that arm. I've got my left arm over his arm. I was trying to do a turnover and I lock the anaconda choke, but there's nothing really there. Graham's flat on his back. And he's blocking my hips. He's doing everything well. I look to try and go to mount. Knee on belly. Uses the wall to push away and stops that angle. So I'm just in a north-south. I'm chilling. I'm waiting for him to make a mistake, and I've got that anaconda grip locked up. I want Graham's left arm to go across my body. So the commentators, at some point, the commentators say that I'm not blocking the hips, so Graham can start to turn and create an angle and walk out. But that's what I wanted to happen. As Graham turns, so I'm not blocking the hips so we can turn. I want to get my arm under his armpit, over his shoulder, to look to attack that Darth. But he wasn't giving me that. He wasn't giving me anything. Fair play to him. Obviously, he had really good instruction in his corner, his coach telling him what to do. So we had really good defence. And I was looking for that north-south choke a little bit there. Again, hindsight, I could have attacked that more. So we reset north-south in the middle of the room. Again, it was a learning experience. The whole motivation for me competing was to lead by example. We've been doing a lot of no-gi sub-grappling at the club, all submissions, and I wanted to test myself, put myself forward, and hopefully now I can inspire younger members of the team who want to get on the sub-grappling scene to get on these kind of matches and these kind of competitions. So yeah, that was my whole motivation in doing it. So we start off in the middle, in the same position. And again, I've got over hooks on Graham's arm, and this gives him an opportunity to push and post on my hips. So I need to get underneath his arms, and he does a really good job of stopping me getting underneath his arms. So I'm using head control and calling the position. I want to be now swimming my hands inside, pummeling inside to isolate an arm. So I'm doing a little bit of a neck crank, trying to force a reaction to bring his hands inside. And we get back to the side control. So Graham there's saying that he can't hear the instructions from the corner. So he's brought his arm out now, and I look to start isolating the arm. Looking for that Kimura. We just go off angle, and you'll see he brings his elbow to the mat again. It's something we've been covering in recently, that Kimura defense. So what do you need for the Kimura? You need the wrist control, and you need an elbow isolated as well as the head. I had the head isolated, I had the wrist. I was going for the elbow, but Graham did a really good job of bringing that elbow back to the mat, back on the inside again. So I've got a tight waist grip there. See my left arm now, I'm waiting for him to bring, see the arms across now. So that arm's across my body. So now I can feed my right arm underneath. There you go. And he gets back to his back. So we did a really good job of stopping me and preventing me from getting that hand. So this was the battle. And this is what I became constantly fixated on. By now, I think we're probably halfway through. And adrenaline was going. I was blinking. I was tunnel visioned. And see how I try and step over to Mount there. Graham turns into Meg, scrambles really well, gets his guard back. So my whole thing here was trying to get posture. Trying to get posture and trying to pass over that knee. So I'm controlling the inside tie on that bicep. I've got an underhook. Graham starts to control my posture and break my posture. He goes 2-on-1. I need to break that 2-on-1 grip. He's looking to get his butterfly. He's looking to get a butterfly hook in. So see how he creates space. And I give him that butterfly. I say I give it him. I knew what he was trying to do. I wanted to get him that butterfly. So I could bait him. Let me pause it here now. I'm going. So pause. So he got his butterfly hook in. Body locking passing is something I've been trying a lot in the gym. I'm still working on it. The problem I have is getting past that knee. So now Graham's got butterfly guard. And as he sat up, I trapped a body lock, a long arm, short arm body lock. So you'll see my hands are connected towards Graham's right hand side. I've got my head low. I start to sprawl off the left butterfly hook. And I'm trying to create an angle so I can step over Graham's right leg. So I sprawl off the left butterfly hook, and now I try and create an angle. Change my head position in, I go back, and I start to step over. So I try and use my elbow on the inside. Graham's savvy to that. He blocks my elbow, and he brings that leg back over the top. So now I try again. I'm almost getting it over. I walk over. Graham does a good job of getting an underhook on my leg. At this point now, I should have bailed on that. I should have sprawled my left leg back and gone back and started again to complete that body lock pass. So Graham underhooks my leg, clasps his hands together, and he starts to elevate me, which gives him a good reaping position. So he starts to reap. Come on, why is it not working? Come on. So we stand up and he starts to reap. And again, it's something we've been drilling in the gym. He starts to reap. Whoa, let's go back. So here we go. We're here. Body lock position. I step over. I'm nearly stepping over. He keeps his knee nice and high. He pulls the elbow. So I'm trying to get my elbow on the inside of his knee to flatten it so I can bring my leg over and get into the half guard. I bring my leg too close and he underhooks my leg. So at this point, I should have bailed. Should have bailed on it. But he pulls me, elevates me. And he reaps. He reaps that leg over the top. And I immediately turn, get my knee out, and I sit back on top of him. So his coach was letting him know that the knee line had gone. So he needed to defend. So there we go again. We spin. I nearly get that half Nelson turnover. And we end up back in the side control position. Kind of north-south side control. I think at this point, there's about 2 minutes left on the clock. You see I'm working to bring that arm over. Now, in hindsight, again, hindsight being a wonderful thing, I I don't even know what the choke's called, but there's a choke where I bring my arm over the top and then like a kind of reverse head and arm choke, modified head and arm choke. That was another option looking back at this. Again, Graham's doing a good job of keeping his frames, not giving me the reaction that I want, so I swim. So I should have capitalised more on this position, maybe. Tried to get that elbow across, cross face. There we go, that arm's come across, and I've got a leg pin now, and I'm looking to chin strap. Graham's doing a good job of controlling my wrist because I want to feed my hand under his armpit now and over his shoulder. And he goes back, gets a deep underhook, and I try and turn him over. And by this point, I'm fatigued, I'm tired, and Graham gets a good job of taking me down. There's kind of a triangle setup, but he's going for that knee bar. It wasn't on, and he uses it to set up a pass. I turn my knee out to the side, he passes. I control that inside arm. So that arm, that cross-face arm, as he comes over, he's already got the pass. I'm not concerned about the pass anymore. I'm more concerned that he doesn't end up controlling my head. So I wait for that arm to come across for that cross-face, and I pass it over. As I pass it over, I'm looking to stiff arm. The commentators pick up on that, and they're telling the audience that I need to start to stiff arm. As I was stiff arming, Graham does a good job of staying over my head, so I can't push him away to sit up. So I end up kind of inverting almost and going to a turtle position. So as we see if it starts. So we start to go to a turtle position, and you'll see I keep my hooks, my elbows in nice and tight. I'm not giving any hooks. Why is it not starting? So here we go. So I get into turtle. I keep my elbows nice and tight, as you can see. My head's on the mat, and I'm not giving Graham any opportunity to get a chin strap, head control, or seatbelt grips in. There's no space for him to get knees in. You'll see in a minute. He tries to get that knee and it doesn't work. And then he manages to pull me over. As he starts to pull me over, you'll see I'm already starting to get my head and my back to the mat. So we go. My head's to the mat already, so I'm looking to change out. He turns me over to the other side. And again, you'll see that I do the exact same thing. And you can't see from the angle here, but I pass Graham's arm over my head, and that's what allows me to get my back to the mat. Now all I'm concerned about is protecting the mount. I'm stiff arming Graham's leg. What I was trying to do here was I wanted him to open his guard, and I could bring my right knee through and switch to a single X Ashigarami to attack my own footlock. But what happens is I end up turning inside his guard and getting to close guard. So here I think there's not long left. There's probably like 45 seconds. Graham, I control were both fatigued here. It was one last effort. Rather than staying in that position, I tried to stand up to pass the guard, stand up, I push down on his knees, and I end up getting that shin pin on his wrist again. So he does a good job of trying to climb high in that guard there. Looking to isolate that arm, I get me posture back. I'm looking for that 2-on-1 control so I can bring my leg up safely. He goes for that kind of K guard position. I end up passing. So we're in a kind of deep half guard. And we're just finishing off the match here. We finish in this position, I think. He's in a deep half now. I'm looking to attack that Kimura arm. He does a good job of getting to his side into the half guard. Last ditch effort to try and pull on that neck, and we finished. We finished the 10-minute round, and it was a good match. Yeah, both enjoyed it. Masters match, again, over 40s, brown belts over 40s. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Good experience. And there we have it. So my first experience in 10-minute sub grappling. So the main learning points, I'll tell you one big learning point. The worry is always worse than the actual event. So the worry leading up to the event was worse than when I actually got to the event and just cracked on. In terms of the performance, the wrestling is definitely something I've got to work on. Yeah, Graham got a takedown, beautiful time takedown. I was upright, my hips weren't back, I was on my heels, and he caught me. Really good technique. So I definitely need to take a few things from that in terms of posture, disciplined posture. When I get that collar tie, I had some success with that collar tie. I'm going to keep drilling that Koichi ankle pick. I'll pull that off one of these days. But move my partner around a little bit, stay more relaxed. Definitely more movement. In terms of positional work, that's just going to come with more experience. I obviously know more attack. We obviously work through different positions, but I was tunnel visioned, and that was just through probably nerves, stress, and such like. Leg lock defense was spot on. Straight foot lock defense is something we've been working on. Heel hook defense, I feel pretty confident in defending those kind of things. Yeah, I would have liked to open up a little bit more. That just come down to nerves, stress on the day. I'm sure as we move forward, I'll have more opportunities to open up a little bit more and be more relaxed in them situations. So if anybody's watching this and is interested, especially from our club, let me know. I'll get in contact with ASWL Liverpool for whenever they've got spaces available, because they do go out quick. I think the next one in April sold out within like 3 days. The places were full. So you need to get on that early. So I hope you'll enjoy the little review. That's what I was trying to do for those who couldn't see on the Facebook feed. Graham's defence was spot on his frames. And it was a good back and forth match. I really enjoyed it. So take care. I'll see you on the mat.